The local chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations issued a statement that reads in part, quote, "It is incumbent on all Americans who believe in the founding principle of our nation, freedom of religion, to speak out and to work for civil dialogue and peaceful coexistence."
In October of 2018, CAIR used the Pittsburgh Tree of Life synagogue shooting as the pretext for getting on TV. These 7 TV appearances show CAIR's cold-hearted and opportunistic nature. Furthermore, it shows CAIR's ability to manipulate the media. Although CAIR has nothing to do with the Tree of Life synagogue shooting, they got on TV 7 times just the same. Why is there a public statement from CAIR regarding the synagogue shooting? They have nothing to do with it. There is a pattern of CAIR using other people's misfortune to get on TV. This one even mentions CAIR's tagline at the end.
Quote, "Such an act of terror affects all of us. We offer our full support and assistance in the aftermath of this tragedy, and our doors are open at all times to our neighbors." CAIR is the nation's largest Muslim civil rights and advocacy organization.
We talked with a representative with the Council on American...
CAIR keeps reminding us that this tragedy belongs to all of us.
People of all religions.
We feel the pain, and this opens some wounds that haven't healed completely yet from other incidents against the Jewish community and against Muslim community and against other communities. And we definitely react to that, and we have to share the pain with them and stand in solidarity with them.
Police departments across the country are seeing huge increases in all sorts of hate crimes, including here in D.C., Virginia, and Maryland. Last week, a gunman reportedly tried to get into a black church before fatally shooting 2 people at a Kentucky Kroger grocery store. The week before that, on October 16th, a man was caught on camera yelling racial slurs and threatening employees at the Council on American Islamic Relations.
The man coming into the CAIR office is a far cry from the murder of 11 people. This next one is a remarkable example of CAIR's adverse influence on WCPO. Listen to reporter Tom McKee confuse CAIR's message with the Tree of Life synagogue.
December 2005, just days before Christmas, 2 pipe bombs explode at the front door of the Clifton Mosque. It happened at night, nobody was hurt, the crime remains unsolved, but it sent chills through the community.
Oh, absolutely it did. When, to have a house of worship bombed with 2 pipe bombs, it could have been any of us.
Karen Dobdub heads CAIR, the Cincinnati Council on American Islamic Relations. She also recalls hatred directed toward the Islamic Center in Westchester.
They've been threatened with bomb threats, with mail threats, with someone, entering during a worship service. And screaming all kinds of horrible things.
The Pittsburgh bombing and other hate crimes are why CAIR urges that the political rhetoric be toned down. The Pittsburgh bombing and other hate crimes are why CAIR urges that the political rhetoric be toned down.
The Pittsburgh atrocity was a shooting. The bombings were what McKee was talking about regarding mosques 13 years ago. Now comes the insertion of politics into the news.
Of course, another thing that's very important for healing in this community is the Coalition Against Hate. Now, that was formed after the violence in Charlottesville, Virginia, over a year ago, and is still in meeting form right now, developing plans and working together as across all denominations to keep people of all faiths safe in this community.
The Coalition Against Hate is a far-left group of organizations, which include CAIR, Center for American Progress, the Islamic Shura Council of Southern California, Media Matters, the Southern Poverty Law Center, and the Brennan Center for Justice. The group intersections will put you in contact with Faisal Abdul Rauf and the people who brought you the U.S. Muslim Engagement Project. The Interfaith Center of New York is another connection to Faisal Abdul Rauf, but there is also George Soros' Open Society Foundation and the United Church of Christ. The Coalition Against Hate wants to restrict speech in the guise of fighting hate.
We value our freedom of speech because that freedom is there for all Americans. We also must use our freedom of speech to speak out against those who would demonize communities of color, different faith communities in our nation, just for being who they are.
Here is the same message that Muslims must supervise this tragedy.
About being persecuted for their beliefs.
And that we recognize that the rights of American Muslims are tied with the rights of all people in America. And so when you have people of the Jewish faith being targeted and attacked, we recognize that it's our job as American Muslims to speak up and to stand with them side by side.
Local places of worship enhancing security in the wake of the Pittsburgh shooting. Orlando's Council on Islamic American Relations offering free active shooter training to any synagogue, temple, or church that wants it.
This looks like a swinging affair. Can anyone tell me why this got on the news?
Come together to condemn the shooting and denounce the current climate of hate and extremism they say is infecting our national political culture. Well, the press conference was hosted by the Philadelphia chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations.
Oh, that's why. The station wants it.
He spoke with people in our community who want change and are determined to help each other heal the divide so many of us are feeling after what happened last weekend in a house of worship.
We're going to get through this standing up for one another.
The NYPD Hate Crimes Task Force is investigating an early morning assault captured on video here by VIN News.
Why didn't CAIR say anything when Lipa Schwartz was assaulted in the street?
Police say a 62-year-old man was beaten by a 38-year-old male in what police...
It would have been a perfect opportunity for them to get on the news and mouth platitudes.
But one eyewitness told Pix 11 the Orthodox...
And when that war breaks, that they would run and hide.
Those just some of the recent words out of a Davis.
When Trump moved the embassy to Jerusalem, 3 different imams from around the country invoked the genocidal hadith about Muslims killing Jews.
That's a clip from...
Why didn't CAIR get on TV and denounce this? Why didn't CAIR tell the imams what was incumbent upon them? It would have been a perfect opportunity to lecture and talk down to people, to call for probes and get people fired. Where were they?
The religious group is asking
they are with their own kind, of course. During the synagogue shooting news cycle, the Mohammed Mosque number 36 received a bomb threat.
The threat to the Mohammed Mosque 36 in North Charlotte last Sunday. The Council on American Islamic Relations told police they would like for the incident to be investigated as a hate crime.
An advocacy group wants a bomb threat made against a mosque in Charlotte to be labeled a hate crime. The Mohammed Mosque 36 was threatened on Sunday. The leader of the Council on American Islamic Relations says, considering the number of attacks against minority groups and police figures recently, the threat needs to be taken more seriously. The council is urging all mosques, churches, and advocacy groups to take extra security precautions.
CAIR got on the news to call for a probe, but never mentioned Louis Farrakhan's anti-Jewish rhetoric.
Regardless of which faith community is targeted, you just think to yourself that an attack on any one faith community is an attack on all faith communities.
What do we do moving forward? Can anything be done to curb this right now?
I think we also have to be in a place where we can feel comfortable having uncomfortable conversation.
Here is the difficult conversation. CAIR likes dead Jews. So does Hamas. CAIR is the American branch of Hamas. They are a foreign agent engaged in a media blitz valued at $143 million. On average across the country, CAIR is on TV once a day, sometimes more. They get on TV by exploiting other people's misfortune. When they are not promoting themselves, they are denouncing people as racists and getting them fired. CAIR has too much access and influence for there not to be balanced coverage of this transparent and antisocial organization.